What is this thing on his head? Yep. It's a Guardian cap. So Guardian caps are something we've mostly avoided on this channel so far. Every now and then I kind of just plug a little Instagram post up there and kind of see how people are perceiving these things as the time goes on. And if you don't follow me, you should. Thank you. So today we're going to talk about what the Guardian cap is, how far it's come, how far can it go, and finally my actual opinion on these things. Now before we start this video, I want you to comment your current thoughts about the Guardian cap down below right now. Then at the end of the video, go back to your comment and see if your opinion has changed. Now the one thing with the Guardian caps we're not going to really cover in this video is how well they actually work. You have a lot of different competing studies and sources out there saying Guardian caps work, Guardian caps don't work, and a lot in between. Now I found this video by Dr. Mark Heisag, and he did a really good job of looking at 4 different studies that are done about the Guardian cap and seeing how effective they are versus the numbers the NFL are posting. And I think it gave a really good perspective, although I do think he was missing a couple of different points that the NFL has talked about in the past. So again, we're not getting into if it works or if it doesn't work. For this video, we're just going to talk about how it's been actually plugged into the league so far. Okay, so here's the timeline. So in 2022, the Guardian caps were announced to be mandated by all linemen, linebackers, tight ends, basically anyone in the box during practice throughout the entire season. This is when I made my first post about it, where Jason Kelsey was actually mocking the Guardian cap by wrapping his head in bubble wrap. 2023, they extended this out to running backs, and they also added Guardian caps to be worn in the preseason. 2024, they extend the practice rules even further. Now it's every position except quarterbacks, punters, and kickers, essentially your specialists, and it's also still worn in preseason. And the NFL slowly phased it in this way for kind of 2 different reasons. The first one's going to be that every year saw gradual improvement in the reduction of concussions, so every year they kind of added more positions to this and kind of phased in over time, seeing better and better results. Now the real one, from my opinion, is actually they phased it in because if they did it all at once, there'd be too big of a fan backlash. So if you add it in slowly over time, people get used to that kind of change, which honestly they have. But now here was the problem that I actually saw coming a couple years ago, and it's that you can't tell players there's something way safer that they could or should be wearing in practice, and you're not allowing them to do it in games. So the biggest change by far this year is actually now that the Guardian caps were allowed to be worn by any position during an actual football game during the regular and postseason. And that really matters because the Guardian caps we saw in practice were not branded, did not have anything different or cool about them, and we saw that if this exact same Guardian cap was going to be worn in game, you'd be covering up all the logos and all the helmet designs those teams work on and just putting this big thing over top. So people in the equipment world were definitely uneasy. But they saw this coming and created this kind of cover that goes over top of the Guardian cap that is made to mimic whatever helmet style the team is wearing that week. So it is helmet and team specific for whatever uniform combo they're doing, and it has the team logos on the side. So it's meant to look like you're actually just wearing your normal helmet. And with these designs, they have done a good job of matching like the Cleveland throwbacks, the Rams, horns on the sides, and even the Colts just basic white. I'll give them props there, they did a good job. So that's where it's at right now. And the interesting thing that I've actually noticed is how the opinions on these things have shifted over time. Go back, look at that Jason Kelsey post. If you read the comments on there or anything we talked about Guardian cap wise, it was all negative back then. There was not a lot of people that were on the Guardian cap side of this fight. But now fast forward, I made a post about the Gameday Guardian caps a couple weeks ago, and it's pretty much 50-50. A lot of people hate it. They think it's ruining football, but there's also a lot of people saying that it's good for the game, safety is good for the game. And there's also a third kind of smaller camp that I'm actually in, and that's going to be that I don't like the way these look. I'm not happy about it, but I also understand that players are doing this because it is good for their safety. Again, under the preconceived notion that these things make it safer and better for concussion. So again, live with me on that one here. But these things make it safer, and if it's something that makes you safer, regardless of how ugly it looks and out of place it looks, I think for some people it's definitely the right call. But I cannot get over the Gameday Guardian cap in all white. This thing looks like a Q-tip. So yeah, I don't like it, but I understand it. So now, where do we go next? Now, honestly, I think over the next like 5 to 10 years, Guardian caps are actually going to disappear for a couple of different reasons. The first one is Dr. Alan Sills went on the Pat McAfee Show a little bit ago. He's the chief medical officer for the NFL, and he said you'll see within the next 5 years that the helmet manufacturers are actually building the Guardian caps into the helmets.
And in a couple years, the technology that's part of these add-ons will actually be incorporated into the helmet. That's obviously the direction we're going, and we've seen the helmets get better and better every single year.
From my perspective, essentially all that means is they're taking a similar foam, they're putting it on the outside of the helmets, and that means there's really no need for the Guardian cap anymore, so maybe that's one reason they don't exist. The next is Roger Goodell. He also went on the Pat McAfee Show to talk about the Guardian cap.
We have a helmet that is as safe as the one with a Guardian cap. So I think we've already achieved that. But if a player is comfortable in what I'll call an older helmet, not the last generation, I think we had 6 new helmets come out this year, all scored incredibly high on the safety standards that we go through.
And he said there are 3 helmets out there that are safer than the older helmets with the Guardian cap. Pretty sure he's talking about the Riddell Axiom 3D, the Zenith Orbit Pro, and the Light ATK Gladiator. Those ones are Guardian cap exempt, which is why some players wearing those, you won't see them in practice. Anyway, so if helmet manufacturers keep making their helmets safer, no need for the Guardian caps in the future, I think. And the other one is just purely my opinion on this. Right now, it feels like we're in an arms race for helmet manufacturers, right? Every year, how many new helmets came out this year? We had Riddell come out with the new Axiom 3D, we had Vices come out out with more position-specific models. We had Zenith and Light come out with new helmets. Like, we are in an arms race for the safest helmets right now. And the Guardian Cap, which is supposed to go over all those, doesn't really talk about them coming out with new models of the Guardian Cap that are safer, better, new foam, all that kind of stuff. They're mostly just talking about how many people are wearing the Guardian Cap now. So from a consumer's perspective, it feels like Guardian Cap is really not focusing on making their stuff better the same way the helmet manufacturers are. So I think over time, the helmet manufacturers, if they keep it up, are going to jump over, and Guardian Cap is just going to get left in the dust as helmets get safer. And maybe that's biased just because, again, I don't like the way these things look. So I'm more concerned about the safety. If the helmet manufacturers can get the safety from it, then if we don't need a Guardian Cap, win-win on my end. So yeah, that's pretty much all I know about the Guardian Caps. Comment down below if you agree or disagree with anything I said today. Love to open the conversation on this. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll check you next time.